Good evening. My name's Art Maxwell, and I play at a little game called golf. Tonight we start a series of programs that will continue throughout the summer on Shaw Cable on golf instruction. And tonight, the host of these programs is my guest, Gordon Crossman, the head professional at the Nelson District Golf and Country Club. Welcome, Gordon. First of all, this isn't the first series of shows that you've done on golf. We'll get into what we're going to be doing throughout the summer in a minute, but what about some of your background in this whole golf instruction programs that you've done?
Well, I've done a number of shows for another cable network in Saskatchewan and also in Ontario. I did a 15-minute segment for the National Film Board on coaching on golf. And I've taught for quite a few years now.
How long have you been a golf professional, Gordon?
17 years.
So you've seen a few swings in your lifetime.
I've seen a lot of swings in my lifetime.
I also understand that you've done some instruction in South America.
Yes, in Brazil, as a matter of fact.
And you go down in October, November, I believe.
I go down and play in some tournaments. I'm invited to go down, and I have friends down there that I teach, and plus some other people that I have some spare time. I give them some instruction, help with their game.
These series of programs, Gordon, they're going to continue from May the 6th to August the 26th, a total of 17 weeks. The first three programs that will start next Wednesday at 9 o'clock, you did in 1983 in North Vancouver. Maybe you can fill us in on these shows.
Well, 1983, I was head teacher at Lionsgate Golf Center in North Vancouver, and I was approached by an outfit if I'd be interested in doing 3 TV shows. So we did 3 half-hour shows, and each show has got approximately 10, 12 minutes of instruction by myself, and a couple of instructors that are into physical fitness, and they show golf stretching exercises. First show has a segment on rules. Second show has a segment on golf etiquette. And third show has a segment on golf clubs, old golf clubs. A gentleman in Vancouver that collects old golf balls and clubs and artifacts of the game.
And these, starting next week, the first 3 programs will be half-hour programs.
That's right.
And you start right from 1 and go on into the shows. You also said that if any of our viewers have some ideas on what they'd like you to cover here on Shaw Cable during the summer, to phone the golf shop and talk to you about maybe some of the ideas that they have about what they want to see and some instruction that they might want to see.
That's correct. The shows, the remaining 14 shows are primarily going to be 15-minute segments, and it's going to go from fundamentals, grip, stance, sources of the swing, mental side of the game. Even probably the last show I might even tell you how to pack for a golf vacation. But with Nelson Golf and Country Club, we have quite a few unusual lies, and I'm going to try and show golfers how to play these situations.
Let's stop for a minute. You mentioned a part of the game that I took up the game, as you know, it's my 4th year, I believe. It certainly doesn't get any easier. It's probably the hardest sport that I've ever tried. How important is the mental part of the game?
Extremely important. It's amazing. You have to be in the right frame of mind. One example is quite often you see someone rushing from the office and you almost mentally picture them running from the car with the bag over the shoulder, running to the tee, the shoes are still unlaced, and they rush their swing, and then they're scrambling for the next 3 holes, and they find themselves 6 over par. Now they're scrambling, they finally settle down, and now they're scrambling to get those 6 strokes back, and they finish even worse. If you can get yourself mentally prepared and set yourself at the right pace to start the game of golf, it's amazing how well you can play. And you've got to visualize what you're going to do. There's a lot of self-hypnosis too that can, you picture what you want to do with the club and how you want to swing it, and visualize how the ball will fly. You need the basics to do that too, but the mental side is very important.
They did an interesting study in the I believe it was in the late 60s, early 70s, when some prisoners of war in North Vietnam, one of the fellows was a golf professional. He spent something like 7 years in a North Vietnamese prison. And in order to survive his ordeal, he mentally played all of the golf courses that he had ever played in his life, day after day after day. And he came back, and the first round he shot was 3 over his best round ever.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point of view, and they've done other studies in other sports also, but the mental part of the game is extremely important. Again, your first 15-minute segment, what is that going to be on? Will that be on the grip or?
It'll be on the grip and the posture, alignment. Get people to, or get the students to feel comfortable. You know, if you talk to yourself, and the worst part in the whole game of golf is tension. You know, it's trying to hit that ball up in the air, trying to outdrive your buddy, trying to hit it next to the flag. If you can take each shot as if it's the last shot you're ever going to play in your life, and really concentrate and make a good pass to the ball, you'll do a lot better. Mm-hmm. That tension is the worst part of the game.
And that tension, I suppose, starts probably in your shoulders, but it ends up in the grip.
It's a combination. It starts in I would say it starts in the grip, the whole upper body. If you're tense in the whole upper body, then you're frozen. You just can't make a good smooth move, and really you need a fluid motion. You've got to eliminate that jerkiness in the swing, and you see a lot of it. You know, people are just not sure how to start the club, and just not sure why they're there sometimes.
Well, I think I also read somewhere too that probably almost 90% of golfers that play the game do not break 100 on a regular basis.
That's right.
I suppose that begs the next question is, you know, obviously practice is very, very important. And maybe that's what separates most pros is they hit hundreds of thousands of balls. I mean, and if you're taught the basics and have some athletic ability and can put the practice together, you might do something in the sport.
That's true.
This golf club is 9-hole course, as most of our viewers know, and because it's a hilly course, it can be very tough in that you were just mentioning before, you get all kinds of lies. The ball's below your feet, it's above your feet, uphill, downhill, and that, I know in my instance, learning the game too, it can become somewhat frustrating because you know, there's a different way to stand up. You know, your stance is different when it's above you or below you, and as you said, this is what some of your tips are going to be, is you're going to take a look at some of these shots.
That's right. You know, it's a common question that I get is how can I hit a lie where the ball is below my feet, or especially on the first hole where a lot of individuals will use a very lofted club to chip the ball up onto the green, when you've got to think about using the lay of the land. Use a less lofted club and use the lay of the land, which is going to be more advantageous to their score.
Mm-hmm. And of course, when you get, I notice even a 9-iron, a lot of the finesse shots where you might have to not swing quite as hard but swing through the ball, or taking a pitching wedge or a sand iron or something like this, and I found when I'm pitching now is maybe a 7-iron's better for me when it's a little flatter. It's I get it on the green, and if I flub the shot, it's a little more forgiving. Mm-hmm. And but the thing that I find in Nelson is that you can't roll the ball to some of those greens, and you know, you have to fly it in, and which makes it a little bit tougher also. That's
true. A lot of the greens at Nelson too are you can't see them, you know, which is good and bad. It's different. You play some courses. Well, I've played a number of courses around the world, and for example, in Bermuda, the shot is to bump and run it. You hit short of the green, and you can hit as short as 10 yards of the green, and it'll roll up onto the green because the only water they get is from the heavens, mm-hmm. where we water every night. So I think a lot of golfers at our course are very afraid to hit a full 9 or wedge into the green. The greens hold very well, in spite of that they may be, you know, going away from the golfer. They still hold quite well, especially number 3.
Mm-hmm. Is there? You've mentioned that you played around the world. there's quite a difference in grasses too, is there not? I mean, you hear on TV they talk about Bermuda grass, and does it in fact make that much difference in putting and
Oh, definitely,
things like
definitely.
that? It does.
The nice thing about playing courses down south is that the ball is sitting like it's sitting on a scrub brush, you know, it's sitting up just begging to be hit. Where in the northern part of the States or Canada, the ball nestles down in the grass and you have to dig it out a little bit. Putting is, the grain is different on the greens, and sand trap, the sand can be a variation of fine beach sand to crushed coral in the sand traps. So, and plus too down south, a lot of the courses there's a lot of water and a lot of sand. Well, that saves on maintenance. Don't have to cut as much, and it makes it more interesting. I get a kick out of the people that go to Pebble Beach and you know they play not a bad game back home, and you know, Joe, how'd you do? Oh, I shot 120, but boy, did I have fun.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
And that's great. That's a good thing about golf.
Of course, when you're, you know, I imagine when you're playing a course like Pebble Beach, just the name of the course itself will, we talk about the mental part of the game, that
Right.
can be very, very scary, especially when I hear they charge $125 green fees this year.
I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to pay anyway.
Gordon, we've got a pretty good junior program this year up at the club. Maybe you want to just fill us in a little bit. Right now, we're right in the midst of some instruction for the juniors.
Right. We've got 2 more weeks to go, and both my assistant Mark Skeeth and myself do primarily most of the teaching, and there's a couple of senior members, 2 or 3 senior members that are sort of babysitters for us when our backs are turned. But it's very good. It's very good. It gives a lot of the younger ones a little bit of knowledge and the basics. I think the youngest one is 6 years old, or just 6 years old. And it's fun to watch them, you know, take a nice healthy swing of the ball. We've got 2 more weeks to go. And in May, I'm not sure, possibly May or June, there'll be one afternoon for the junior members at the club where we'll sit down and I'll show them a video and talk about etiquette, maybe rules, handicapping. But right now, we're halfway through our session, and it's a lot of fun. Mark and I both enjoy it.
One of the comments that I've heard on quite a few members up on our course is the etiquette that our junior kids have on the whole. They're very responsive on the course, and I think that's you're to be commended on that, because I've heard some good things. You mentioned a 6-year-old starting golf. He picks up a club and he tries to hit a ball. And do you not have to keep it fairly simple? I mean, for instance, just how complicated would you get with a 6-year-old? Keep your head still, like everybody, keep your arms straight. What do you tell a 6-year-old?
Well, they just, like most young golfers, they just want to try and hit it as far as they can. And a 6-year-old, what I would like to do is try and get them to try and stay reasonably still, try and use their body, and just maneuver the club so that it's in an upright swing plane, rather than swinging like a baseball bat. And just make contact with the ball. If it goes right, left, that's okay, as long as they make contact with the ball and not miss the ball constantly. I had a 6-year-old when I was in St. Catharines, Ontario, that was unbelievable. He could hit the ball from both sides and hit it 150 yards. And it's just, I wish he was with me. I'd like to see what he's like now.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. You know, the main thing is just let them enjoy it. That's the problem with a lot of parents too. Sometimes they push. Well, it's the same in hockey. They push, push, push. Let the child go out and have fun. And if they want a lesson in golf, or they want to play more hockey, they'll come and say, "Daddy, you know, I need a lesson. I'm having trouble chipping."
And maybe we cover juniors are welcome every day, except is there any restrictions on them up at the?
There are some restrictions. Tuesdays is Ladies' Day, Thursdays is Men's Day, so before 12 noon they can play, but this is naturally in the summertime. And right now after school they can tee off up until 4:30. Sundays and Saturdays they can tee off after 11 o'clock. That's pretty well it. That's pretty well.
So it's
pretty liberal at Nelson, I think.
Okay, and I was going to ask you too, along with these instructions, you've also done some writing for newspapers on
A Voice from the Rough.
That's what it was.
A Voice from the Rough.
And it was what, 3 years ago in Nelson, the Nelson News, you did a column?
Yes, I did it for 1 season, and prior to that, for 3 other newspapers that they were all called A Voice from the Rough. I like that grass with the eyes peering out between the grass. I thought that was cute.
And you're also available for instruction up there every
That's
day.
right. That's right.
The number of the golf shop is in the book, 352-5913.
That's correct.
Okay. And you're there from what, 8 o'clock every day? 7 o'clock every day? I know you start pretty early.
I'm there almost. I need a bed. Anybody got a bed? I'm there from 7:30 in the morning till late.
Okay. Okay.
Get me almost any time.
And so, once again, your first show is going to be on what?
First in the three series. Well, the first one is primarily basics: the grip, the stance. I'm hitting a few balls, and as I said, there's some instruction or some tips on golf stretching for the muscles, and there's a segment on rules. And there's one. This was made in 1983. In 1984, there was a change in the rules, and there's it mentions that you can drop the ball 2 club lengths. It's 1 club length now, and that's the only difference in the rules that are mentioned.
Mm-hmm. You also mentioned that you might take a look at some equipment. How far has equipment come in the last 5 years?
Oh, it's a long way. More, actually, 10, 13, 14 years ago, a lot of the equipment that was on the market was fancy and had cavity backs and everything, but the public, I hate to say it, were being experimented on, and what they have now is through research and study, is most equipment is very beneficial. You know, there's low profile or cavity back that assists the higher handicap. Makes the sweet spot much bigger. So instead of hitting a sweet spot that is the size of a pinhead, now you have a sweet spot the size of a golf ball.
Are some of the do some of the pros actually also use some of these type of clubs now?
That's right. Bob Tway, for example, that won 2 or 3 tournaments last year, uses pings, and it's a cavity back club, investment cast cavity back club that really 7, 8 years ago was unheard of for a pro to use. They were still using the conventional forged heads, the very basic blade. A lot of the pros still use that, but of course, it depends how much money he's being paid for using that equipment.
That's right. Also, I also understand that some of these new clubs have the square grooves in them.
Box grooves.
And box grooves. And is it the United States Amateur or the North American? What's the big?
United States Golf Association.
They are also looking into possibly making these clubs illegal.
They have their standards for grooves and distance a ball will travel. There's balls that you can, well, I don't know whether you can buy them, but there are balls that can travel faster than what they're supposed to. And they have, I think it's 27 feet per second. I could be wrong on that, but is what they're allowed maximum to travel. But no, they look at everything. They check out everything. There's wedges and putters that someone comes out, this is the ultimate wedge or putter, and they check it for some reason. It may not be up to their standards.
I was down in Vancouver a couple years ago and browsing through one of the big golf shops down there, and I didn't believe how many different putters you could buy. I always thought there was right-handed putters and left-handed putters, and you know, 4 or 5 or even 10 different models, but there was literally hundreds. They had them with arrows on them, and so there's something for everybody. Once again, also, you're going through the summer, 14 weeks. August the 26th, you'll hopefully finish off.
Approximately.
And we'll cover everything you want to know and don't want to know about golf.
Try. Any suggestions are welcome to.
Okay, and once again, you can phone the golf shop for some show input, and 352-5913.
That's right.
And Gordon, thank you very much, and
Thank you, Art.
we see you throughout summer.
Good.
My name's Art Maxwell. Good night.